Hi crafty friends, it's Donna here from Donna is Playing Paper, and I have a set of 4 cards for you today that started as a set of 2. For those of you that are new here, I'm an Australian crafter who is living between Australia and Japan for at least the first part of this year and creating cards wherever I am. Today I'm going to be doing some rainbow colouring using some paper from the Urban Garden paper pack from Paper Rose Studio. Most of the papers in this pack have bold burgundies and reds and pinks, but there were a couple of beautiful black line images that I wanted to colour, and I'm going to do that 2 ways. First, by colouring everything except the image, and then later by colouring the images themselves. I've grabbed out a mix of pencils and put them in rainbow order, and I've had a little bit of a practice on the side paper to check that I'm happy with the flow of colours, and I made a couple of changes and took 1 or 2 pencils out after that little test piece. And now I'm going to go through and colour the background. For this card I'm using a fairly light hand, and if you find yourselves a little heavy-handed, one of the tricks that you can do is to hold the pencil much further back, and that won't allow you to press hard. It's a great way of being able to put down just a light layer of colour. I'm working backwards and forwards across the colour changes, trying to make sure that I get a good flow and to make sure that the colours have a similar brightness across the card. The coloured pencils that I have here are a mix of Polychromos pencils and Prismacolor pencils. I'm much less experienced with pencils than I am with, say, Copics or with watercolour, and it's interesting to feel the different texture of the pencils. The Polychromos pencils are much harder and firmer, and I have to be very careful with those pencils not to use too heavy a hand. The Prismacolors, on the other hand, are beautiful and soft and quite easy to colour with, but they do leave a little bit of powder on the paper, which I have to be careful to get rid of so that I don't smudge it. I like them both, they're just different to each other. Let's move straight on and colour the other card. This time I'm using a much heavier hand. I'm going to make a vibrant, bright card. I'm using the same rainbow, but I'm using it as a circle. You'll notice that my very left hand and my very right hand pencils will flow through and around. And what I'm doing is I'm starting with the greens for the leaves and working my way up and out in both directions, so that my leaves are mostly green, sometimes tending through into yellow, and sometimes the other direction into some blues. But by the time I get to a flower in my little rainbow pattern, that they are mostly purples and reds and oranges. I'm just going to show you a little bit of footage of that, but not the colouring of the whole card. The other thing that I have done is I've treated the image as one image, so when I get to the end of a leaf and jump to a flower, I'm just moving to the next colour. As I've coloured these bolder images, I'm still starting out with a very light hand and then just adding layers until the pencil is as vibrant as I want. That allows me to blend between the colours. Once you've coloured as dark as you can, then the paper's not able to take any more colour. And so you want to get to that point in stages. You can see the difference between the two panels, one with the lighter hand and one with the bolder colours, but I have used exactly the same pencils for both of these panels. Let's turn them into cards. I'm going to use these paper rose stitched rectangles. These are Australian sized, but you could make these to any size. There's more than enough left over to work with US sizes or Australian sizes. I'm going to give those a nice blue border and cut that very close to the edge, and then mount them onto a card that matches the shape of the die that I chose. I don't want to cover up too much of this colouring. It took me a while after all, and so I'm just using a simple sentiment from the Rainbow Poppies sentiment set and a little black banner to go with that, to pop it up. For the other card, the construction is the same, except that I've chosen a sentiment from the big black and white sentiment sheets that says Happy Birthday Friend. I've coloured around the edge so that you can't see the white core of the card and attached that, as simple as that. Here's where the bonus cards come in. Once I had used the dies and cut the paper, I had these beautiful little strips of paper left, and I didn't want to waste them. I've used the same blue paper as a backing and stamped Happy Birthday. You can see that I have done the Happy Birthday stamping a few times to make sure that it's level using gridded paper before I stamp it onto my real card. And then I've added some enamel dots in rainbow colours just to stretch the design across the card and give it a little bit of movement. For the second card, I've actually done a little bit of work off screen, and you're just seeing the construction. I'm using the same Rainbow Poppies sentiments, and I've got some happy birthdays in a range of colours and created a design where they come off that central strip. I've added some more rainbow enamel dots, which I think just spread the design out once again. There you have it. 2 cards that turned into 4 cards. My favourite is one of the cards with the small strips, so you never know what you're going to like the best, do you? That's all for today. Feel free to like and to subscribe, and I'll be back with another card for you soon. Bye for now.